Hi, this is Alex from devstories.eu. LangChain 1.0 Orchestration Framework, Episode 1 of 20. It is incredibly easy to build a prototype of an AI agent, but it is notoriously difficult to build one reliable enough to put into production. The gap between a cool weekend demo and an enterprise-grade application is massive. The solution to bridging that gap is what we call the orchestration era. First, let us clear up a very common misunderstanding. People often confuse LangChain with a model provider. LangChain does not train, host, or serve large language models. It is the orchestration layer sitting directly above those models. Think of it as the control center that manages how your application interacts with whichever model you choose to use. To understand why an orchestration layer is necessary, we have to look at how the technology has evolved. Back in 2022, interacting with the language model was straightforward. You sent a string of text and you received a string of text in return. Simple prompt chains were enough to get the job done. You did not need a heavy framework to manage a basic text-in, text-out workflow. You could easily write a script where the output of prompt A was simply pasted into prompt B. But as we move through 2025 and look toward 2026, the landscape looks entirely different. Models no longer just process plain text. They ingest and generate complex multimodal blocks. A single interaction might involve routing a user prompt, triggering an external tool call, processing an image, and returning a structured block of data. A model might return a request for a database lookup right alongside a text summary. If your application code has to manually inspect every single response to figure out if it is a string, a tool invocation, or an image file, your codebase will quickly become a fragile, unmaintainable mess. Here's the key insight. Passing the exact right context to a model at the exact right time is much harder than simply picking the most powerful model on the market. You can swap in the smartest reasoning engine available, but if it receives messy, unstandardized data, the entire interaction will fail. This is why LangChain evolved from a simple chaining library into a standardized orchestration layer for its 1.0 release. It provides a standard message format that works consistently across all major model providers. Instead of writing custom parsing logic for every different API, you use a uniform structure. By standardizing the message format, LangChain ensures that a tool call from one provider looks exactly the same in your code as a tool call from a competing provider. You define a sequence where a user message goes in, the orchestration layer normalizes it, sends it to the model, catches the multimodal response, and translates that response back into a standard format your application can actually use. You write your application logic once, and the orchestration layer handles the translation. The model itself is no longer the entire application. It is merely the reasoning engine, and the orchestration layer is what determines whether that engine actually solves your business problem. If you want to help us keep making these episodes, you can support the show by searching for Dev Stories EU on Patreon. That's all for this one. Thanks for listening, and keep building.